Inside this bag and to the right of me are some of New Direction's new P20 Aluminium Bankware, and in this video I'm going to tell you 5 key things you need to know about this range. Now before we jump into the range, please do just take a few seconds out of your time to hit that subscribe button and the bell icon so you don't miss any future uploads. It really does help the channel to grow and helps bring more content like this and much more to your screens. And also, if you wouldn't mind, follow us on each and every, or maybe just one of the different social media platforms coming up on the bottom of your screen right now. So what exactly is the P20 range? Well, it's extremely similar to the P10 range that I covered at the tail end of 2023. And that range was completely carbon fiber range, but this lot is aluminium. So it's basically the same, but it's a different material that's been used. So if you're not a carbon fiber fan, but you like the look of that kit that I showed you last year, then this range is going to be for you. Alternatively, if you haven't seen that video, but you like what you see today, do go back and watch the video on the P10 range, where it's basically everything you're going to see today in the carbon version. Got it? P10 carbon, P20 aluminium. So with the P10, one of the main talking points was the new and improved strength of the actual crossbars, and that's carried across to the P20 range because it follows exactly the same design and makeup, just a different material that's being used, as I've already mentioned. So within this upright in particular, or all of them, all the 2-rod bars or the 3 rods, there's a connector for each of the uprights that connects to this bar that's super strong, and that can be adjusted through some little Allen key screws which are on the bottom and top of each of these bits that connect to the bar. You can tighten them up. So over time, if it starts to get loose, you can tighten them up with no problems with an Allen key. But even though this is just straight out of the box, they're really super strong to try and twist and break. And it's exactly the same with the P10 range, but I tried to break that, I couldn't. So the strength of these is second to none now. So rest assured, if you buy these, they are super strong straight out of the box, but if you need to upgrade them over time and tighten them up, you can do so with the Allen keys. But it's not just the crossbars which have been improved, because the Banksticks have been as well. So if I just use this one for an example, this is one of the longer ones. There's a whole range of Banksticks and different lengths, which you'll get onto the actual availability of what's in the range in a short while. But the basics are aluminium once again, so they're super lightweight, but nice and strong as well. Starting with the point, extremely sharp. I've actually got one here which I haven't used yet. This is their smallest one in the range, so this hasn't seen a bank yet, has actually gone into the bank. So the point out the packet, they're actually painfully sharp out the packet. So they're super sharp and strong, but once you've used them a few times, of course, that point is going to round off ever so slightly. And this has been used several times on banks like this, which as you can see is gravelly, so quite difficult to get sticks into, but they've gone in absolutely no problem. Same as the one that I'm using today. That's gone in through pretty stony, rocky ground and absolutely no issues. It will round off that point ever so slightly from how it comes out the packet, but that's not necessarily a bad thing, because they are so sharp. It's nice that it's now gone to a more of a hard-wearing, rounded point, which still goes through the ground nice and easily if I need to. And it's nice and sturdy like so. Moving up from the very bottom, you've then got a standard screw and then the extendable bit. So these are fully adjustable. And as you'll see, you can probably hear, that bar is hitting a point where it won't go any further. That's because they've now improved these Banksticks where they've got a flat edge on the inside of the adjustable part. So whereas on previous iterations, actually on the P10, which is the carbon range, that's fully circular. So you can still snug it down and stop it from going up and down, but you could still spin it slightly, because naturally, if a screw is buttoned up nice and tight to a circular surface, there's only a small point in which that screw is sitting on the actual bar itself. Whereas this, where you're screwing down onto a flat surface, that screw has much more to bite into and to grip onto. So now I've got that nice and tight, I can hit that really hard, and as you can see, it's not collapsing down lengthwise, and also I cannot twist that because it's not allowing me to, because it's pinched onto that flat edge. That means that when it's in situ like so, that's not going to change height-wise, and also if I knock the uprights, it's not going to spin round, or at least it's not going to spin round the bar. The whole Bankstick itself might if it's loose in the ground, but it's not going to spin itself because it's gripping onto that flat edge. That's a couple of nice little additions to the P20 range, going to get the meal mixed up, that makes the Banksticks a bit more user-friendly and also a lot more robust when they're in use. So that's a quick run through of what to expect from build quality and how to actually use these items. So what's available in the P20 range? Well, it's more a case of what isn't available, because there is stacks, whether you're using singles, setup like I'm using today, or a pod, there's something in the range for all of you. So it doesn't matter what situation you're fishing in, you should be able to cater your rod setup to fit the venue or your personal preference. But we'll start off with what they sent me on this shoot. Start with the 2-rod buzz bars. They come in 3 different sizes. You've got a 5.5 inch, 6 inch and a 6.5 inch. So if you like your rods really close together or slightly more spread out, you can do. And if you get a mix and match, obviously you can splay them slightly. So that's the availability in the 2-rod setup. Now on the 3-rod setup, at the moment, I'm using the middle size one, which is the 11.5 inch size. There's also a 10.5 inch, which has my butt rests on. So if I was to use the rear rest on this, it gives me the perfect splay of rod angle on the setup. And the largest of the 3 is 12.5 inches. So that's the uprights or crossbars, sorry. And then we move on to the Banksticks, because there's actually 5 available in the range, ranging from this tiny little one at 6 to 10 inches, all the way up to this one, which is 15 to 28 inches in length. So there's some all the way in between that as well. As I said, there's 5 in the range. So from the tiniest to the largest, there should be something in the range that suits your needs, whether you're using the bigger ones like I did on a recent trip to Shearwater, where I need to have the rods in the water because it's pretty shallow. I used the larger one so I could stab that down into the water. I think most of this was submerged, but still had my rods out of the water so they weren't swimming. And then alternatively, if you're using these, maybe probably going to be when you're using this on a pod setup, or if you want a really low profile setup, that's when the smaller ones would come into use. And there's also a horizontal singles setup bar available in both 10.5 inch or 11.5 inch, and that's just a horizontal bar which takes Banksticks into them, so you can have them perfectly set up distance-wise apart, but it makes it look like you're using a singles setup. So if that's something that floats your boat, that's available in the range. And there's also Bankstick stabilizers, compact rod pod, which is a 2-rod setup or a 3-rod setup, or full kits, whether it be 3-rod and Bankstick crossbar setup like this, or a 2-rod crossbar setup and Banksticks. There's loads in the range. Now, of course, being ND, there's always going to be some accessories, and these bags come included in some of the setups. So if you're going with like a 2-rod setup with the Banksticks complete, it comes with one of these, or 3 rods and things like that. But you can also buy these individually. This is the P78 and the P79 bags. So it's a perfect way of storing all your Banksticks. On each side you have, I should have counted that before, 5 spots to store Banksticks on this side, which gets covered up like so. On the other side, you've got another compartment where you store another 5. So if you're using various different length Banksticks, or you've got a small rod pod setup with lots of different sticks, it should hold all of those on the outside. Then on the inside, you've got heavy duty zips, a clear PVC panel view there to which you can put things like your buzz bars when they're not in use. Then you've got a little padded divider to separate things. As you can see, I've got all the different things that I'm filming today here. And on this side, another clear PVC pocket with a high quality zip. And the whole bag itself is 600D material, so it's hard wearing, nice and robust. It's just a great way of storing all these bits and pieces when you're not using them. So if you're using stuff like I am today, where I'm just using the front bar and a Bankstick, all the rest can be kept secure in here. But if I move swim and I want to use a rear stick or set up a pod on a swim I can't get sticks in, you should be able to carry it all around in one of these. Like I said, either the P78 or the P79, and that's in relation to the actual size. This being the large one of the 2, and the ones you're seeing shots of right now is the smaller of the 2. Well, finally, the prices, and as I already alluded to, they do not break the bank. So just for instance, the Banksticks, whether you go for the smallest one or the largest one, £12.90. 3-rod crossbars, whether you go for the smallest or the largest, £12.90. The 2-rod buzz bars, if you go for the smallest or the largest, £12.90. The 3-rod horizontal bar, which is for setting up singles looking thing, that comes in at not £12.90, but £11.90. So all really, really cheap. Now I'm gonna grab my phone now because there's a lot more prices to go for whether you go for different setups. So that's all the things individually. But if you went for an aluminium singles 3-rod setup, that comes with one horizontal bar, 11.5 inch, one at 10.5 inch. So you've got that nice perfect display, 2 12 to 22 inch Banksticks, 4 9 to 16 adjustable Banksticks, and 1 high quality transport bag like this comes in at just £99. And then if you go to the compact 2-rod setup, these are just an idea of what you'll get for the price. If you want to go for a 3-rod or a 2-rod setup or a pod, it's completely up to you. But a 2-rod compact pod setup, £69. That's the compact pod element, plus 5.5-inch 2-rod buzz bars, a 6-inch 2-rod buzz bar, 4 9 to 16-inch adjustable buzz bars, and a high-quality bag. Again, if you're in for a 3-rod setup, that's £79. A 3-rod buzzer bar setup with which is what I've gone with today, that comes in at £59. A 2-rod buzzer bar setup, £59. So it really isn't expensive if you want to go for a whole setup. And as you just saw from what I was reading through there, it's not just 2 buzz bars and 2 uprights. They give you, I think that was 6 buzz bars and the uprights. So if you want to have the longer sticks or shorter sticks, it all comes in the kit in one of these bags for under £100. For all of those, I think, were pretty much under £100. I don't think you can quibble at the price there. So if you're looking to get a new setup, whether that be the P20 range, the black aluminium that you've seen with me today, or alternatively, if you like what you've seen today, as I mentioned earlier, but you like the P10 range, which is the carbon version of all of this, do go back and watch that video and maybe check out that as well. All of which is available from Amazon. So most of it is on Amazon Prime. So if you like the look of this right now and you order it in time, it could be on your doorstep by tomorrow. So what's not to love? For more information, please do head over to Amazon and check these out for yourself, or alternatively look on their website, the New Direction website, for information on there. And as I said, check the link in the description below because there's the P10 range which I've ran through a few months back if you prefer the carbon version. But that's everything from me for now. I'm going to slowly pack away. I've ended so many of these videos lately with hopefully the rod goes off, and they just haven't. But that's winter fishing for you. You got about an hour. And there we go, 28.5 pound. Probably putting more of a fight on the mat than he did in the actual fight. But that sort of size, I don't think anyone can complain for the end of January on a very slow session. As he doesn't seem to want that side to be shown, I'll show you the other side. Still for a few seconds. We'll attempt to get some snaps and I'll slip him back.